What was the strangest rule you had to follow when at a friend's house? When I was 11, I had a friend named Jason. We met in 5th grade. Quiet kid, always smelled faintly of cedar wood and peppermint gum. We got along fast, mostly because he laughed at my terrible jokes and never made fun of my stutter like other kids did. One Friday after school, he invited me to his house for the first time. He seemed oddly nervous when he asked, like he wanted me to come, but part of him didn't. I said yes anyway. His house sat at the edge of town, a little ways past the park, surrounded by tall oak trees that blocked out most of the light. It was an old, creaky, 2-story place that looked like it belonged in a different decade. His mom greeted me at the door with a polite but distant smile, the kind adults give when they're not sure if they like you yet. Everything inside the house was spotless, but in a strange way, not cozy, more like a museum. The air smelled faintly of bleach and something metallic. Before we went to his room, Jason turned to me, his expression suddenly serious. "There's just one rule," he said quietly. I laughed, thinking he was joking. "Like, don't jump on the bed or something?" He shook his head. "No, don't open the basement door, ever." It struck me as odd, but I nodded. Kids' houses had weird rules all the time. No shoes on the carpet, no eating outside the kitchen, no touching the good towels, so I didn't question it much. We played video games for hours. His room was small, but filled with the coolest stuff. Model cars, comic books stacked neatly on shelves, and a little black and white TV that hummed faintly when you turned it on. But every so often, I noticed his eyes flick toward the hallway, toward the door at the end, the one that led downstairs. At around 7 p.m., his mom called us for dinner. The table was set perfectly with matching napkins and heavy silverware. She didn't say much, but at one point she asked if I'd like to stay the night. Jason's face went pale. "Maybe not tonight," he said quickly. His mom just smiled in that same stiff way and said, "Suit yourself." After dinner, we went back to his room. Jason got quieter, distracted. Around 9, his mom knocked on the door and told us it was almost bedtime. That's when I heard it, a dull thump from downstairs. It wasn't the sound of pipes or an appliance, it was too rhythmic. Thump, thump, then silence. I looked at Jason. He froze, controller still in his hands. His lips moved slightly like he was counting seconds. "It's fine," he whispered. "It happens sometimes." I didn't sleep much that night, even though I pretended to. Around midnight, I heard it again, the same steady thumping, followed by something softer, a dragging noise, faint but unmistakable. I wanted to go home. The next morning, Jason's mom made pancakes but didn't look at either of us. Jason barely spoke. When I left, he said, "Don't tell anyone about the noises, okay? Mom gets mad if people ask." Of course, that made me want to ask, but I didn't. Weeks went by. Then one day, Jason stopped coming to school. Rumors started. His family had moved suddenly. No forwarding address, no goodbye, just gone. 2 years later, my mom was watching the local news when she called me into the living room. "Didn't you know a boy named Jason Miller?" The name hit me like ice water. The story went like this. The house had been sold after being empty for a year. When the new owners started renovating, they found a small sealed room behind a false wall in the basement. Inside was a rusted metal bed frame, old food cans, and shackles bolted to the floor. Authorities said it looked like someone had been kept there, but they couldn't figure out who or why. The Millers were never found. I remember my stomach twisting, remembering the thumps, the dragging, Jason's pale face, and that one rule: don't open the basement door, ever. I still think about him sometimes, about whether he knew what was down there, or if he was just another prisoner of his family's silence. Some nights when my house creaks, I think I hear that same dull rhythm again. Thump, 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 echoing up from the dark places we're told not to open.